Well, I was privileged to be the first cabin evaluator in SpaceShipTwo VSS Unity. As the chief astronaut instructor, I just performed the first in-flight cabin evaluation in space of what our customers will experience in flight. So it was a great day. So the heart of the evaluation was obviously the in-space microgravity portion. So once the rocket motor cut off, the pilots cleared me to unstrap from my seat, and I unstrapped from my seat, evaluated various aspects of the cabin, and then strapped back in for entry, and it all went smoothly and just according to timeline. The first thing actually I did was start my stopwatch so I would know when to get back in my seat, and then I unstrapped and did a slow egress to a window, took a look at the beautiful clear view out the window, and then just to make sure I could safely strap back in and that there was no issue with the hardware, I went ahead and strapped my lap belt back in. Once that was all done, I unstrapped again and evaluated a different way to get out of the seat, and then I evaluated a part of the cabin to see how it rotated around me. And then I went up to evaluate the view you can get from apogee out of the top windows, which was silent and beautiful and clear. And I was quite happy to be near the cockpit with our pilots to celebrate apogee, and we all sort of marveled at how magic it was. Then after apogee, I proceeded with cabin evaluations. I took a look at the upside down view, kind of Spider-Manning along the ceiling to see what you could see doing that. And then took a glance at the back of the cabin, and then headed back to my seat and evaluated how to get back in a seat, and was strapped in for entry G. It was so clear. That was the most amazing thing. It was crystal clear, just super high def. And interestingly, you could sort of see ice crystals right out the window, and then the beautiful curvature of the Earth. It was so black in space and so clear and bright, especially with snow on the mountains. You could see the Pacific Ocean, see the southwestern United States. I felt like I was infinitely high. It was just beautiful. It was the most amazing thing. So clear. So the idea behind today was to get some first-hand experience to help inform the evolution of the cabin and the training of customers. And so I'll be able to take the highlights from today and optimize the cabin, and then really highlight the real standouts from the experience during training. Fantastic. Well, it sort of means everything. Human spaceflight, I think, is really important. I think it can help us be a cohesive planet in many ways. And so helping open that door for the future is really important to me, and I think it's crucial for all companies that are trying to do that. So being in a position to be able to encourage, invent, and accelerate that is a real honor for me, because I think it's important, and I'm very proud to be here. I would encourage anyone who wants to be involved in aerospace to go for it, because it is a phenomenal environment, great people, a wonderful career. I would encourage anyone to join up. If I can inspire someone to do so, I would be thrilled and honored, but I think space is open to everyone. Come join.
You have witnessed the second flight of SpaceShipTwo into space, the fifth powered flight overall, and the first flight with a person in the back. So we had Beth, who's the chief astronaut instructor, on board with us, and she was evaluating the cabin. She's been involved in the design and the manufacture of the cabin, the customer experience part of the vehicle, and of course that's what we're here to do. We're not here as pilots to have lots of fun, firing rocket motors. We're actually here to fly people into space in our cabin. And so we've now entered this new phase in our test program where we're evaluating the cabin, the customer experience, and we'll do a series of flights for that. And so it's another, for me, it's a milestone on our way to commercial operations.
Sure. So I was privileged to fly the right seat of Unity today in the spaceship, and we started off with a beautiful morning climb out. Kelly and CJ did a great job in White Knight, the mothership, carrying us up there, and we went up to the mid 40,000s of feet, and smooth drop, nice rocket motor burn. It light off very smoothly, and Dave did a great job turning us into the vertical as smartly as possible, and we were off to the races. And you know, this is my second powered flight in Unity, and it was interesting because you try and take in more each time, right? And I was really trying to take in more of that rocket power experience. And our last flight, we got up to 171,000 feet or so. This flight, we got up towards 300,000 feet, and it's a significant difference up there, and to see all that. And then, so basically once we got up there, my job was to run some checklists and run through some flows and make sure the systems were ready for the coast phase, the reentry phase, and then the glide phase, and then the approach and landing phase. So Dave, I was fortunate enough, Dave did let me fly some exo-atmospheric with the reaction control system, some of the reentry, and then I got a little bit of glide time on the way back. So I definitely appreciated that. It's all part of my training as well, to eventually fly spaceship from the left seat.
Yeah, so we had well, 3 people, Mach 3 to 300,000 feet. You know, the second powered flight, the second space flight, I should say, of SpaceShipTwo, only 10 weeks after the last one, and so that's a rapid turnaround. For Scotsman in space. 5th powered flight for SpaceShipTwo. So this, and of course, obviously the person in the back, Beth Moses in the back, Chief Astronaut Instructor, that's a big step forward. So it was also the second payload flight. So we had the NASA Flight Opportunities Program, and we had 4 payloads back there. So it's a revenue generating flight for the company as well. So yeah, it's a big flight.
I said it's a privilege. It's surreal, really is. And I mentioned that term surreal when I was up on stage today after the landing, in that the whole experience was surreal. And I think, you know, it is very humbling to be part of such a great organization, great community of people that are trying to achieve this goal of making space open for more and more people. So, you know, obviously I want to fly again as quickly as I can, right? Because that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, it was a lot of fun. I think what we need to do now is we're going to take a look at all the flight test data we collected, and we collected a lot of it today. We're going to take a look at that data, and we're going to then smartly move through a test plan program that we already had established, and keep ticking off the boxes, so to speak, and get us ready for our end goal, which is to take all of our future astronauts up into space, and one step at a time.
The experience is quite extraordinary. I was amazed at how much I could see, you know, and how far I could see, and I could see so far I really couldn't recognize things, and it was just, there was so much out there. And the other, well, amongst the other impressions were how clear everything was. So just looking vertically down, it was just very, very clear. No, it didn't appear to be any haze or anything. The sky is incredibly dark. The atmosphere is incredibly thin and beautiful. There's just a beautiful cyan line around the horizon, and it was incredibly quiet. It was just pure. We could hear the silence of space almost. You know, it was just almost a surreal experience.
Today was a really huge day for the company because not only did we go to space again and mint 2 new astronauts in our pilot corps, but we also flew our chief astronaut instructor, Beth Moses. And so what we were able to do was to rapidly advance the development of our cabin experience for our customers. And that's a big deal because at the end of the day, that's what we're all about. And I think what Beth found was that we're doing really well, and we're excited to offer that experience to our customers. So the kinds of things that Beth was testing on today's flight were getting out of her seat because we want people to be able to float around the cabin. How easy is it to move around the cabin? What are the best windows to look through? As the pilot feathers the vehicle and the vehicle moves, is there any things we should learn? And then how do you get back in your seat? And is the whole experience, you know, from takeoff through, you know, boost and release and then re-entry to landing, is there anything we can learn about that? And I think what she found was that the experience is something that's truly awe-inspiring. So today's flight made some important steps forward in terms of altitude and speed. We made it up past Mach 3 for the first time, and we made it over 295,000 feet, which was a big milestone, so over 55 miles in the air. You know, space starts at 50 miles, so we were expanding into space, and that's great. That gives more time for our customers to be able to float around the cabin, and just a great thing for them. Well, I think, you know, we'd like to fly Richard as soon as we can, but we want to do it safely, and we also want to do it when we really feel comfortable about the entire cabin experience. We're making good progress to that goal. We still need to do a few more vehicle test flights in addition to cabin testing that we'll do. Some of that will fall on top of each other. We'll be able to do both things at the same time. Some flights will need to do one or the other. So we're making great progress. We still have a ways to go, but today was a huge step forward. So today was another exciting flight opportunities program that we conducted for NASA. And what that means is that we flew several payloads in the back of Spaceship along with Beth, which collected valuable science and technology data that the researchers will now be able to go look at very quickly. That's one of the advantages of our vehicle, is that people can take those payloads right off the vehicle after landing and start getting involved in the data just after they've landed. So we're looking forward to working more with that community. We want to make sure that we're providing the best possible service to that community. And you know, hopefully these will be discoveries that help humanity down on planet Earth. When is George going to space? Soon, I hope. But anyway, we'll go, same answer for Richard, you know, we'll go when it's safe, and many of us have been thinking about that for a long time, and it's exciting to get closer and closer to that milestone.